Hello everyone and welcome back to TowwrGate. It is TowwrGate day number 1037, 1037, Saturday, February the 8th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I would like to extend a very happy birthday to Kimmy. That's right, happy birthday, Kimmy. So happy to have you and your hubby as supporters. Kimmy tells me in the comments section that her and hubby listen to my videos every day. I think she said when they're driving home from work or driving a car or whatever. So I don't know. I don't want to make you guys crash or anything. So be careful listening to my videos while you're driving. But anyway, I do want to wish Kimmy a very happy birthday. Thank you so much for tuning into my videos. Thank you so much for being part of the MAGA family, for being a supporter of our great president, President Trump, and for being a great American patriot. Both you and your husband deserve to be commended, as does everyone who follows this channel and supports the president. Thanks so much, Kimmy, and happy birthday. Okay, we have a lot to get to today, so let's go ahead and dig right in. Well, as most of you have probably figured out, this has been an extraordinary past 7 days or so. You talk about winning. My goodness gracious, Trump is just winning. And what's extraordinary about this is all of this is coming at the expense of the demo commies. The Keystone commies are really the ones who are setting Trump up. I mean, they're like the pitcher, you know, that I don't know how many of you played baseball when you were a kid, but you know, I remember before every game you would watch the opposing pitcher warm up and try to see, you know, what the guy's got. You know, does he throw hard? Does he throw a curveball? What's he got? And it's like the demo commies, the Keystone commies remind me of that pitcher that we used to all salivate on as we would stand there and watch and see that the guy can only throw 40 miles an hour, or that he throws big looping like curveballs and things, and we would just, oh man, we're just gonna crush this dude, you know. And it's like the demo commies just set Trump up. I mean, they might as well walk up and put the ball on a tee. I mean, it's just, they set him up. They make his job easy. A lot of his victories are coming at their expense and would not be possible without them setting him up so easily and so well. So let's just go through a few of the things that we're talking about here. So Trump wins big on impeachment. The demo commies impeach him. He ends up raising massive amounts of money, massively invigorating and energizing his base, which was exactly the opposite. They were trying to drive him down, drive people away from him, make him less popular. Instead, he's become even more popular. Not only did he just pick up and get a lot more energy from his base, he picked up a lot of independents and even Democrats as a result of the failed impeachment. So he wins big on impeachment. In fact, he came out, he gained 6 points. From the time that they started impeachment to the time they ended it, he gained 6 points and is now more popular than he has ever been. You talk about a big win and a big lose for the Keystone commies. Of course, he wins this emoluments case. Now, this was the case that Ocasio-Cortez said was going to be the one that was going to take him down. Not only did he win the, not only did he win the case, but he won it in an overwhelming fashion because it was a 3-judge panel that ruled, and they didn't even have to go into the case. They basically said, you don't even have grounds to bring the case. So he got nowhere, absolutely nowhere. So another huge win for Trump. He wins the emoluments case. Then, of course, he gets the demo commies to give him USMCA, and he signs this great trade deal. They didn't want to give him a victory on USMCA. Madam Botox, in order to get the 32 Democrats to sign on to impeachment, she had to give them something in exchange that they could take back home, that they could say that they did. And so she had to come off of USMCA, put that up for a vote, allow it to pass to get the votes to get impeachment. So Trump gets impeachment, gets all the credit for that, and of course impeachment fails. And the 32 demo commies who signed on to the impeachment likely signed their death warrants, because those 32 Democrats are in districts Trump won in 2016, and so she likely not only did this impeachment fail in a big way, the way it was done will likely, almost surely, guarantee that the enough seats are going to flip in the House as a result, so that the Republicans will take back the House of Representatives, and Pelosi will lose the gavel. And of course, Trump earlier had beat the Mueller rap. And to even add to it, we learned yesterday that both of the Vendeman brothers were both escorted out of the White House. They have been fired. You're fired. Yes, that's right. So Trump wins again. He's gotten rid of those two scoundrels at the NSC, the Vendeman brothers. They're gone. They're fired. Escorted out of the White House. Sayonara. See ya. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. Now, all of this is the real reason why Madam Botox Pelosi Galore ripped up that speech. It is because she realized through that speech, as Trump's going through it, the massive victories that he's having at her expense and her party's expense. It was pure frustration that Trump is winning so big and she's losing so bad. That really is the frustration that caused her to rip up that speech, which in itself has now backfired. And even Democrats we're hearing came up to her, some Democrats in Congress came up to her and said, man, that was bad. You really hurt us. We got to go back and try to get reelected. That hurt. We have independents. We have even our own people, our own party, Democrats, ringing our phones off the hook, telling us how inappropriate and pitiful that was. That was horrible. And so she's even taken heat from her own members for that disastrous fail. And that's what she'll be remembered for. Trump is totally living rent-free in her cranium. No question. Then, of course, he comes out and he gets the numbers. Yesterday morning, as he comes out of the White House, he finds out that the new job numbers have just come out. And I believe it's 225, I think it's 225,000 jobs, and they were only expecting about 165. So a huge number, much, much bigger than even anticipated. And then you get the other number comes out that shows that we had 3.2% wage growth in the last quarter. 3.2% wage growth in the last quarter, in addition to all those jobs. This coming on the heels of a poll we just had 2 days ago that 90% of people are happy with their lives. 90% of Americans are happy with their lives. That's an extraordinary number, which is totally flies in the face of everything the Democrats are trying to sell. They're trying to convince people all across the country, from the left-wing media to the Democrats themselves, trying to convince people that the whole country is miserable because of Trump. That the whole country is in a hellish nightmare because of Trump. And now we learn that this unprecedented, extraordinary number of 90% of people are happy with their lives. This is coming on the heels of a poll we just had where 87% of people are satisfied with their personal economy. And that is the death knell for an election. When 87% of the people feel very good about their personal economy, meaning their personal financial situation, their job, their future prospects, their future opportunities, their investments in their 401ks, and things and such, all this figures into that number. It tells you that people are generally very happy with the way things are going in the country, which is completely 180% the opposite of what the demo-commies and the left-wing media hacks are trying to convince people of. And this is a killer to go into an election when your entire message is that the country is miserable, the country is in a state of hell because of Trump, when in fact all the numbers show just the opposite. This is the most extraordinary week of winning I think I've ever seen for Trump and all of us. But if you're a Democrat, wow, what a bad week you've had, and it just keeps getting worse. The debacle of everything I just mentioned, in addition to they still haven't figured out who won in Iowa. And the guy who they pinned all their hopes and dreams on is left the campaign trail. He disappeared back up to Delaware to try to figure things out. And they're still trying to figure out who is going to drive the clown car. They can't figure out who's going to drive the clown car, who's going to be sitting in pole position. Well, if you ask me, I think it looks like they're trying to get Buttigieg is the guy to be sitting on the pole. Buttigieg will be sitting on the pole. That's the prediction. It's what it looks like right now. It ain't going to be Burisma Joe. That's a fact. Speaking of Biden, so what happens? Biden goes back home to Delaware, and he's sitting around up there apparently with his brain trust, and leaves his wife Jill back in New Hampshire, who goes to a little rally to speak to voters in New Hampshire, and 10 people show up. Only 10. So Biden is huddling his lame brain trust to figure out a strategy moving forward. Well, of course, as I said, there is no strategy moving forward. Had they listened to me 7-8 months ago before he even jumped into the race, I told them there was no way this guy could win. I've been watching him for years. He's one of the worst politicians I've ever seen. This guy had zero chance from the beginning. Now it's being reported that Biden has brought in, you're not going to believe this, that he's brought in a new leader to run his campaign, and it's, believe it or not, it's this former communications director, Anita Dunn. Now, we've talked about this woman before. This woman is a nut. This woman is a certified nut. She is the one who, and this is what we were talking about probably a year or two ago, for some crazy shit that she was saying about Trump, and she is the one who is she's a radical leftist, and she once was speaking at some college, and she praised Mao Zedong as one of her favorite philosophers. And she is now making the final decisions. She's the final decision-making authority in the Biden campaign moving forward. And of course, she's also, what she's been doing for the past couple of months, is offering PR help to Harvey Weinstein during his trial. This woman's a certified nut. And that's who's going to be heading up his team moving forward. This dude is done. This dude is done. He won't be on the poll. Boy, oh boy. So, in 2016, Bernie gets effed by the rotten reverend, and I'm sure he didn't enjoy that. And now here he is in 2020 getting effed by Buttigieg. He's got Buttigieg all up in him. Bend over, Bernie. Well, we have Chris Matthews comparing Trump supporters to North Koreans praising their dear leader. I would say just the opposite. I would say, no, that's actually the rotten Reverend Clinton, a cultist, or maybe even Chris himself, who had a massive man crush on Obama. No, Trump fans, here's the difference between Chris Matthews and his man crush on Obama, or those crazy nuts, the Clinton cultist. The difference is that if Trump were to, if Trump would have not delivered on the promises he made, people would have him in the shit can too. We're not total loyalists to Trump. We're very happy with Trump because he's doing what he said he would do, and we like what he said he was going to do, and he's following through. But if Trump wasn't delivering and wasn't doing what he said he would do, if he wasn't doing a good job, we wouldn't be blindly supporting him. I wouldn't, and I doubt any of you would. We're not cultists by any stretch. We're nothing like the people that, bow to Kim Jong-un or anything like that. This is complete nonsense, and Matthews knows it. But this is how desperate and despicable these leftists are. They're going to lose. They're going to lose big, and it's going to be epic loss. It's not going to be a normal loss. We are potentially looking at the end of the Democratic Party as we knew it. If Bernie wins the nomination, he will take down every damn Democrat across the country and Congress with him. It's bad. It's really bad. That's why they have to stop him. And who have they picked? Buttigieg. This guy, here's the problem. Take a look at where the majority of the Democrats are today. Look who the top 3 people are. Buttigieg, he's holding around 25%. You got Bernie around 25% and Warren around 18%. Well, that's about 68%. That means that about 68% of the Democrats in the country are supporting three candidates who are all so far to the left, they're unelectable. Buttigieg is well to the left of center, unelectable, and he will not win a national election on his positions. Then you get Warren, who's the fake commie, who's to the left of him, and then you get the most popular one of all, the commie Bernie, who's the far, far left of both of them two. So all three of the top three, totaling about 68% of the Democratic electorate, are far leftists. And one of them three, probably, unless they can somehow, Klobuchar is really the last hope they have, or the Rotten Reverend. Klobuchar and the Rotten Reverend are the only two so-called centrist or neoliberals that could possibly represent the party. They're going to lose and lose bad, but at least ways the rest of Democrats in Congress could run underneath them and still promote sort of centrist or neoliberal policies. But if you have a Warren, a Buttigieg, or a Sanders at the top of the ticket, I mean, your person at the top of the ticket has to be consistent with everyone else running under him in the party. They have to have a consistent national message. And this is why they're hurting. And if you ask me, I think Bernie is unbeatable unless they cheat him, which they will. But who are they going to cheat and try to get in his place? Buttigieg? I'm pretty sure. Remember, Trump won about 80% of evangelicals, which means the other 20% of evangelicals that exist is Democrats or independents. I would say that it's very, very unlikely that evangelicals will vote for Buttigieg. Because when they stop and think about it for just a moment, they go, wait a minute. So we could have our first president whose first lady is going to be a man. The first lady is going to have a little pair of hairy balls. That is not appealing to most people in the country. And here's another thing that, people think about too. I mean, they're probably going to have this ideas, especially since with what happened with Clinton probing Monica in the White House with the Cuban cigar. They're going to be having all these thoughts of all the kind of things, and the idea that you got the President of the United States packing fudge in the Oval Office. It's just not going to go. It is just not going to go. I'm just telling you right now. That may be biased, it may be bigoted, it may be homophobic or what have you, but I'm just telling you, people are going to have the image in their mind of little Pete bending over the desk in the Oval Office, getting his fudge packed. This will not fly in Peoria. Now, we still don't seem to have a winner in the Iowa contest. With 100% of the vote in, they still can't decide who to select. You still got Bernie claiming he won. You still got Buttigieg claiming he won. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't matter anymore. And in fact, tonight, there is a debate. Does anybody even know that there's a debate? There's a Democratic debate tonight. You think Quid Pro Quo Joe is going to show up and get his ass kicked again? What's he going to do? My friends, you are watching an extraordinary meltdown of epic biblical proportions. My goodness. I almost want to tune in for the comedy of it all, but I just can't stand these people. I'll just wait for the highlights. That's all I can take at this point. And does it matter? No! Nobody in this clown show. In my mind, none of these people could seriously become the nominee. As I said, you've got two people who are possibly, they'll both get their ass kicked, but they're the only two that represent the somewhat centrist or neoliberal party that other candidates across the country can still run on a typical Democratic platform. And that's Klobuchar and the Rotten Reverend. That's your choices. There really are no other choices. And we'll see how it goes. Buttigieg ain't the answer, I'm telling you right now. As soon as you start scrutinizing that dude, there's a lot of problems. Just his position on abortion alone is a killer. Even 70% of Democrats oppose late-term abortion. This guy's done. And now they're going to start attacking him. They've been letting this guy, they haven't really been hitting him. But now everybody's going to be hitting Buttigieg. You watch and see. And Hillary's not going to let Booty Boy stand in her way. I guarantee you, that ain't going to happen. And now we find out that of course, Buttigieg's also arguing for the end in the Electoral College, and this again shows you he's unqualified. You're a damn fool. Anyone trying to make any argument that we should end the Electoral College is freaking ignorant. Freaking ignorant of our history and why we have an Electoral College and why it's so important to have an Electoral College. I'm not going to go through this again. I've been through it 3, 4, 5 times. I'm not going to do it again. Just trust me. It's vital. It's vital to the Republic. This republic would not exist. It never would have existed. It will collapse in literally a matter of 10, 20 years if you eliminate the Electoral College. This country would erupt into civil war. So this guy is truly an idiot. And he was on a radio show, and he was asked his number one issue. I think it was NPR. A woman said, "So what's your number one issue?" He couldn't even tell you what his number one issue is. Because he has no number one issue other than getting elected. That's it. And that's all it is for Democrats. Just the power. Just the power. That's it. It's about the power. That's the number one thing for all Democrats. All the time, everywhere. It's just about winning the power. That's it. It has nothing to do with doing anything for the country, doing anything for the voters, or even their own voters. Not for blacks, not for Hispanics, not for gays, not for him, not for her, not for it, not for shit, not for shut. It's just power. That's the only reason that the Democrats pursue elective office. Power. That's it. Now we're finding out that the exact same app that they used in Iowa was also sold to Nevada. And now they're trying to figure out what to do there because it appears that they're trying to do some testing and the app is failing in Nevada. I guess Buttigieg will win there too. And then we're getting some more in-depth information out of the IG report regarding confidential informants. And we're finding out that it wasn't just, Mifsud and Halper. No. There were freaking dozens and dozens and dozens of people who were acting as confidential informants against Trump. Dozens and dozens. Here's just some more. The FBI used multiple sources to spy on the Trump campaign. One person who was in direct contact with Trump. Another who chose to campaign, Another one who was close to the campaign who was providing large volumes of documents to the FBI. We had another who held a position in the Trump campaign. We had another who was publicly pretending to be a Trump supporter. And we had another who was who attended a private event gathering with Trump. The FBI also had 4 other individuals that they had contacted who were providing sources. They were gathering. They had 4 people who were out there gathering more sources to get dirt on Trump to feed to the FBI. This was all passed along to the Operation Crossfire Hurricane team. There must have been dozens and dozens and dozens of operatives working against Trump to infiltrate his campaign. And now we're learning that Misfit may have been an FBI informant, and he was likely involved in the Flynn setup. And he was likely one of the people that Page and Loose Lisa Page and Peter's Been Stroking Us were referring to in that O'Connor's Lures email. Getting the O'Connor's lure in place. It looks like Misfit may have been one of those O'Connor's lures. We shall learn in due time. Well, we have the never-Trumper Joe Walsh, who was trying to run against Trump. He has now officially ended his campaign, and he says that Trump cannot be beaten. We now have the latest reports coming out of New Hampshire, which has Buttigieg now at only 1 point behind Bernie in New Hampshire. Well, here's some advice for you, Bernie. If I were you, I'd be very careful if Buttigieg was behind me. Don't bend over, Bernie. Now, Bernie has no spine, and that's why he leans forward all the time. There's no spine. But he probably does have an anus, and that could present some problems to you if Buttigieg is behind you. Now, how is it possible that just a week ago, polling all over New Hampshire was showing Bernie with a wide double-digit lead going away and Buttigieg at 11%? Now, all of a sudden, he's 1 point behind Bernie with the primary, 3 or 4 days away? Oh, man. You talk about this thing being rigged. Well, Nigel Farage paid a visit to Trump, and they had a little meeting. And I think that what we're going to see that's going to happen here is that I think that Trump is going to try to talk to Boris Johnson and maybe see if he can get Farage to act as some sort of a trade representative, because Farage is very, very interested, now that they've left the EU, and getting on the fast track to some trade talks. And Farage and Trump have a very good relationship. Farage definitely knows trade. He's a former businessman, trader, things like that. He definitely understands trade as well as anybody in the UK, and he would be a fabulous trade representative for the UK. And so I think that that's probably what that meeting was about. And so it would be fabulous if we had Nigel Farage representing the UK in trade talks with the United States. And we need to get that going. We need to get that going very quickly. We need to cut a great trade deal with the UK. We need to make absolutely sure that the UK succeeds in a big way after leaving the EU, because we know the EU is going to be coming after them to try to sabotage them. But it's more important, it's most important that the UK succeed bigly in this thing, because we want the rest of Europe to look at the UK as an example that you can leave the technocrats in Brussels, you can go on your own, back to your own system, your own currency, your own country, take your sovereignty back, and that you can succeed. We need to make absolutely 100% sure that we do everything we can to make sure that the UK succeeds in a big, big way. And I think Trump will do everything he can to make that happen. And Farage is absolutely the right man for the job. Well, we have more bad news for the Keystone commies. It looks like the two top leaders of the demo commies who were hosting the committee for the 2020 DNC convention in Milwaukee have been fired. It looks like Liz Gilbert and Adam Alonso have been fired for creating a toxic work environment. Both were professional Democratic operatives from New Jersey. Now, there's a backstory here. Let me tell you what the backstory is. These two professional demo commies from New Jersey were sent up to Milwaukee, where the convention is going to be, to direct and organize the events for the convention. And they get there and they find out that the place is a shit show, that it's completely disorganized, that they got factions here and factions there, infighting and all kinds of stuff. So doing what professional people would do, they said, hey, we were sent here to put this thing together and get a handle on things, and you people are acting like a bunch of spoiled children. It's not going to happen. We're running the show here, and we need to put this thing together. You people need to get in line, carry out your duties here, and you need to stop the squabbling and the fighting and the infighting. We've got to put this convention together. It's going to be here in just a few months, and we're in charge of making sure that our convention goes off well. And as a result of these two professionals coming in and trying to, get these people to stop fighting amongst themselves and to get the thing organized and to do the job they were paid to go up there and do, to get the convention ready for the Democrats' Milwaukee convention. As a result, they got all kinds of complaints that they were creating a toxic work environment, and so they were fired. So even the convention that they're trying to get organized for 2020 for the DNC convention to nominate their candidate, even that is such a shit show that even when they send professional people up there to try to put it together, even they can't operate because of the. It's like I said before, when Nancy Pelosi took over the House, I said it's going to be like trying to herd wild cats, and this is what it's like. Can you imagine being sent up to the DNC in Milwaukee to try to organize some sort of a convention that's going to go off without a hitch and look professional, and everything's going to be the way it's supposed to be at these conventions? It's all very scripted. It's coordinated with the media. You've got a lot of coordination. It's like putting on a 4-day show, really. That goes, 12, 16 hours a day. You got speakers from morning to night. You got all kinds of things that are happening around. It's a very, very big job for, two people like this to go in there and organize and put together a convention with so many details to deal with. And, you have to be, very organized and professional and know that kind of work. And you can't have a bunch of 1,000 people under you going in 1,000 different directions. You can't do the job. And then, a professional person will come in and say, hey, this thing's a mess, and we need to get these people straightened out. And then you try to do your job and let these people know, hey, we got to put this thing together, and then they blame you and get you fired. So here it is. It just shows that you can just see, man. You can see this 2020 convention in Milwaukee coming. You can see this coming a mile away. Like I said, I said the other day, I said that this whole impeachment thing was like the Hindenburg crashing into the Titanic and both going down. I mean, this is worse than that. Again, I'm going to do a video on the 2020 convention versus the 1968 convention. I'll probably do that. I've already started working on it, but probably will actually do it next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. I want to be over this cough completely because it's still a struggle for me. But I'm on day 3 of antibiotics. I expect by Monday I should be over this bronchitis. But it's still hard for me to get through a video without coughing my brains out. And that's going to be a content-filled video. And I just want to be, as best I can be to lay that out. It's going to be a lot of information to pack in a 30-minute video. There's just so much to cover of the 1968 convention and then how it relates to today. The tricky part is putting all that together in half an hour. But I am working on it, and I will do that. But anyway, you can see that this is what's going on. You can see this coming a mile away. This DNC convention is going to be an absolute disaster. I just hope it doesn't result in a lot of violence and people getting hurt and things. I'm hoping it doesn't go there. I'm hoping it's just crazy. But this thing could really get out of hand badly. So anyway, one last thing I wanted to mention. I don't know if this is just me or if other people have noticed this, but Trump has always been a counterpuncher. He's always spoke his mind. He's always taken people on. He hits people back harder than they hit him. And we've seen this throughout his entire candidacy and then his presidency. And I thought we had seen Trump in full action. But I have to say that since he was cleared in the impeachment and acquitted, that the very next day when he does that prayer breakfast and then he does the speech after the prayer breakfast and then he's done 2 pressers since then, and then of course we get the Vindemans being carted out of the White House yesterday. I actually think I'm seeing a different Trump right now. I'm seeing a Trump that's really, really coming out strong. I thought that we had seen his 100% mass punchback, but I would have to say that it looks like to me that since he beat this impeachment rap, that he has taken it to a brand new level. And I know a lot of people were still skeptical about Barr and Durham in their investigation, holding people accountable. And as I've said many times before, I'm not putting all my faith in Barr and Durham. I think they're both genuinely. I don't know that we could do any better than those two right now. I know Durham is solid. We know he hates corruption. We've heard things from Barr that certainly indicate that he's not dancing around it. I mean, he's basically said, yeah, there was a lot of things going on there, and they're going to hold people accountable, this and that. But I'm telling you, I've always put my faith in this in Trump, not in Barr and Durham. It's Trump. Believe me, Trump, we don't know these conversations happen, but I'm sure they do. I'm sure Trump, especially now that he's beaten this impeachment rap and he's beaten the Mueller rap and all this other stuff, I'm sure he's told Barr in no uncertain terms, hey, buddy, you better get this done. You know what happened, the coup. You better bring these people to justice, brother. You absolutely better bring these people to justice. And especially now, I guarantee you the gloves are really off, not just with the Democommies and everybody else, but I think that Trump's going to absolutely lay down the law with Barr and say, take care of business, brother. You've seen what I've been through. I'm done. You better take care of it. So put your faith in Trump. I guarantee you he's going to bring these people to justice. Have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow. See you. Bye.